Namaste and welcome to a continuation of my story of the personifications, the symbolism, which we have, in many senses, failed to understand. Snow White, one of the movies made by Walt Disney. Another one he made was called The Sleeping Beauty. In both of these, we have a beautiful feminine lady who is put to sleep by an evil witch. I compare this with our Eastern stories of the witches in each of the chakras, and Kundalini, being the feminine nature, is put to sleep by this witch. The reality of this situation has to do with our sleeping nature, the fact that our powers go to sleep. The forces of the witches, which exist in each of the chakras, in us as something. In yoga, the witches are the extroversion that move us to the outer world, and we forget about development of the inner world. This is kind of what the symbolism is teaching us and leading to, and we need to look deeply into us to find this sleeping goddess, which is Kundalini, and then awaken with the kiss of consciousness, the love of consciousness itself, wanting to feel everything. And feeling is our feminine nature. So we need to get out of our minds with this and bring consciousness into the sense of feeling. And the more we can feel, the more we awaken this whole idea of the inner world. What is the inner world? When you're looking from a scientific perspective, we have quantum physics, which is saying everything is a vibration, and the feeling of this vibration is ecstatic. It becomes orgasmic. The reunion of Prince Charming and Sleeping Beauty, Prince Charming and Snow White, has to do with a very powerful, beautiful feeling of orgasmic bliss, which awakens when we get in touch with the inner feeling of our body. But the witches take us to the outside world. They're all leading us into seeing things, hearing things, feeling things from the outside, rather than actually perceiving that on the inside everything is blissful vibration. So the yogic journey is go inward, deeper and deeper, until you reach the core of your being, and you have the masculine and the feminine elements. The feeling of you with the mind out of the way, you have consciousness and feeling, and you're living in the moment, and the moment becomes more happy, more blissful, to the point of becoming orgasmic. This is the purpose of our life. We are here to learn these things, and that's by going inward. After we have explored the outer world and had all the experiences that the outer world and the witches provide for us, then we turn inward. And the inward journey goes inward beyond time and space into an eternal realm. I would say they lived happily ever after, Prince Charming and the Princess Snow White. So contemplate all these things and take the journey inward. In the yogic world, this is the Tantra yoga side of things, and it's a very deep journey that brings more and more happiness, blissfulness, and orgasmic sensation. And in quantum physics, they're looking at how electromagnetic waves are wave functions. It's a wave, a possibility that can become an atom or not, and generally does not. So we have a lot of atoms in us. If you take some of those atoms and you uncoil them back into electromagnetic energy instead of atoms, you have a lot of power. This is the same phenomena Einstein gave to us 100-something years ago. E equals mc squared. If you take 1 gram of your being and you multiply it by mc squared, c squared, it's a lot of energy. 186,000 times 186,000 c squared, the velocity of light squared. So it becomes an infinite amount of power. And what we learn from this, or what we can learn from this, is that we have the potential to be nuclear beings. And this is what's awakening in coming times. Just as the dark forces are making nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, we as humans, as we become more in tune, enlightened, and discover that we are made of energy condensed into atoms, we can utilize this and become quite powerful, in fact. This is the age we're going into, and many people are going to achieve this. We have the knowledge already, but we haven't applied it to our reality. So let's look at the purpose of the witch with the thorn that puts Kundalini to sleep, or Sleeping Beauty. It's why go to sleep? It's because if we are in an awakened state, we realize we are energetic beings, and it changes the whole game here in manifestation. Manifestation is here for us to enjoy, and the witches are here to pull us out to experience the world outside of us. The deities who live in the chakras are then going back into the source of where the energy is coming from and how it's being manifested. And when you're closer into the source, you have more of a directing power as to how the manifestation will unfold. Otherwise, it's going to be running through your subconscious and manifesting your worst fears as much as your dreams, and bouncing back and forth between the two. So your life is a mixed up experience. In yoga, you're cleaning up, taking out the bad weeds and letting the positive things manifest and come to light. So Dakini in the first chakra is there to make us not realize our energetic potential so that we can then be drawn outwards. And I mentioned she's in charge of body hormones and specifically more like testosterone in this case, which is materially coming together, having your strength, having your power, and going into real material existence with all the chemicals that keep you looking outward and keep you wanting to go further out. So it's all part of the illusion, which is called Maya in yoga, and it's the illusion of the material world being a solid, fixed reality. If you come to the nuclear state of your being and you see that everything is made of energy, everything dissolves back into this electromagnetic ocean, which is an attainable state of meditation, actually. But you don't necessarily stay there. You go into the meditation state, you realize this, come back out into your body, and you become functional in the world. This is our possibility. And if we have access to the deities or the divine forces that are coming through this chakra, we are much more capable of directing, as I said, directing our manifestation, creating what we want, rather than what's lying in the back of our subconscious of all the fears and negativities that we watch on public media, that we heard about, that are going into war and disease, etc. And the more we understand the details of these symbolic pictures and stories in the chakras, the more we are growing into an understanding of how we can actually use this and come to a better state of being, creating our health, manifesting the life we want. And this is our potential. And we are in an age when we are developing our potential. Some people are, some people aren't. So yoga, you're slowly going into actually feeling the energy of Muladhara. And because Dakini has put us to sleep and we can't feel this energy, this is where Kundalini is sleeping. We don't feel it. When consciousness goes in and you feel the vibration of your molecular structure, you're getting closer to the source out of which everything is made. This is part of the awakening in yoga. You gently step down into this chakra, you go deeper and deeper into your own physiology, into the vibration of the cells, the vibration of the molecules. And once you realize that everything is vibration, me, the floor I'm standing on, the chair I'm sitting on, etc., these are all realizations. You have the experience of this. And with that experience, you can feel the energy, you can change the frequency of the energy, you can direct it into a vision of healing yourself, of what you want to see in your life. Now, just to summarize, I had made the comparison between two Western fairy tales and some of the Hindu mythology that's referring to the chakras. The point of knowing this kind of information is for self-knowledge, for self-study. And the point of our lives being here on planet Earth really is to learn, getting to know ourselves and the universe, and our relation, of course, to the universe. And now, in this year 2568, or 2025 for some of you, this is a time of awakening when we get to choose how much we would like to awaken, what kind of life we would like to lead. There's a big transformation happening. We can all see this, I do believe. We have all been programmed into the life of consumers, but there is a much greater potential kind of awakening and waiting for us. You can see the awakening in the number of people who are questioning, who are developing spirituality, who are getting into wellness, etc. Back to my fairy tales, we have both of the Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, and we also have the Prince Charming, which comes to awaken them with love and a kiss. Our Prince Charming is our principal consciousness, which comes down into the first chakra of Muladhara and awakens the Sleeping Beauty, which is again Kundalini. This is in fact our awakening to the observation of our inner world, our inner cells, molecular structure, and the vibration of all of that, which normally we do not perceive. They are under the level of consciousness, or asleep, let's say. So the awakening is becoming conscious of this reality that we are made of vibrating molecules, which again, in turn, are made of vibrations themselves, electromagnetic vibrating waves. This is the new reality. And this is the fact, the principle that we are asleep to. We don't generally notice this because the witches are always taking us to the outside, looking around, feeling around, smelling everything on the outside world. When we turn inward, we begin to discover this. And this is the awakening of our inner nature. And as we go deeper and deeper inward, we find our vibrant molecular structure, which is always vibrating with an exciting feeling that becomes blissful, becomes orgasmic, in fact. So the union of our principal consciousness with our with the feeling of our molecular biology is, in the sense, loving ourselves, making love to ourselves, feeling ourselves. This is our masculine, feminine element. The princess, the prince, the sleeping beauty who is awakened by consciousness is our interior unconscious molecular biology as we become aware of it. It's incredibly blissful in its essential feeling, and it always is. The journey into that experience is Tantra Yoga. And getting to know the seven dwarf chakras is the path of the Chakra Yoga system. It's a coming up and down the ladder from consciousness to the first chakra, becoming aware of the nature of each. So this is something that is deeply rewarding because it puts you in touch with the feeling of an eternal blissful reality in the electromagnetic ocean, which is what everything is made of. It's infinite and eternal, plain and simple. So join us sometime in the Chakra Yoga system. You can follow that on Instagram, see it we're up to. Thanks for listening and contemplate what you have maybe learned in this little lesson. For now, adios and namaste. From Thailand, Swatika.